What have I learned from my first game jam? Well, a lot, but mostly use the save button or shortcut key more often. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Alright, just kidding, but it was a major thing during the jam. But let me show you how I did and what I did during the jam. First, procrastination. When the theme was announced on Friday 5 PM, I immediately had an idea of creating something which was a combination of the Villa Volta attraction in the Efteling and Stranger Things. Villa Volta is a house that starts rotating, but you're not really sure if it's you or the house that is rotating. And Stranger Things, of course, has the underworld, and also Lego has an amazing piece which really shows the upside down. So this idea, but then in 2D. With an extra rotation element, I thought it would be cool to let the character run through different rooms in a 360-degree rotation, as you can see in the sketch. I then made a plan and a time frame. With that done, I started my procrastination and didn't do anything more on Friday night. Saturday morning I continued with procrastination and started with a run. Normally a good idea, but I noticed that I really had some trouble with starting the program. During the run though, I figured it would be a good idea to use tape machines for the different rooms. This is to let every room have its own movement settings, etc. And after some research, I finally started a new Unity project. I chose 1-bit platformer sprites because I thought it would be cool to have just a black and white retro game. I learned from previous mistakes, imported the game sheets correctly and created the base game scene. I then added a player, and instead of focusing on one room first, I decided it would be good to implement the mechanics for all 4 rooms at the same time. Because when I could get the state machine to work, everything else would just be adding stuff to the state machine. So the core mechanic would work. And to be honest, I was surprised how fast I was able to get this up and running. I first added the switch statement with different setting for each room. The tricky part here was the gravity. Since Unity's rigid body uses gravity to, well, fall down, like vertically, which doesn't match every room setting, I needed to set gravity manually by adding force in the right direction. I also had some trouble with the actual movement because every room has different movement, so it was quite a puzzle to get things right. With that done, I needed to have something to actually change the room states, and I used the doors for that. So when a player collides with a door, it transports to a new location, in this case another room, and changes states. I then added images for the final door and the chest to open when the player gets to the chest, and with all this working I was basically done with the main part of the game. Pretty awesome. I then added the ability to jump and took some time to set up the world. After that I added animations for the player and added an enemy to make the game a bit more challenging. But then... yeah, so, and here's my reaction when opening the Unity project again. Ah nee, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Is die hele kamer gewoon weg? So I counted till 10, or 100,000 I think, and recreated everything in the scene. Then I took some time to grab a dinner and go for a walk outside because I really needed a break. Back on track, and as we say in Dutch, met frisse moed, I continued with creating a start screen. I thought it was a good idea to do something relatively easy to get me going again. I also added some assets from Kenny to make it look better, although it took me way too long to get things right. And I even changed it in the last few minutes before building my project. But hey, looking at the schedule, I had the time. Feeling confident again, I also added a timer, which is basically a copy-paste from my last project. So nothing new here. The end screen is a bit different though, because it shows the time. And yes, I cheated a bit with the code to trigger the end screen here. But it works. The last thing I did that day was adding sound, and I now basically had a working game. So finishing touches on Sunday. Sunday morning, and with a second cup of coffee I thought of the things I wanted to do. A new enemy would be nice, a help screen for when the player touches the final door before opening the chest, and of course, building the project and creating my itch page. First thing I did was creating a new enemy and adding more enemies to the scene to make it more difficult. I now have a fly bug who can fly, and you can probably guess what the walk bug does. For the help task, I added an else statement for the door to set the text to become visible when the player hasn't opened the chest. And with the coroutine, waits for a few seconds and then disappears again. And then I took some time to add more details to the game scene to make it more prettier and more immersive, I guess. And my game was done. Time to build. I changed it a bit to make it playable in a web browser because I thought that would be easier for the itch.io page. And then I actually created my itch.io page. And here's the page. Relatively simple, but I like it that way. Then I submitted and I was actually pretty happy with my result. I mean, first game jam, still learning a lot about Unity and game dev, and created something that in my opinion looks cool and it works. Now a week later, looking at the results, I am still pretty happy. I got a couple of comments saying that it would be nice to add checkpoints, but in my opinion that's the whole idea, to make it in one try and beat your time. There also was an idea to add WASD keys, and that's certainly something to add. I don't think I would do anything different next time, but I will make sure to decrease the possibility of a Unity crash. I think reinstalling my PC would be good because it crashes too often and that's definitely not good for my heart rate. Also, using the save option more often is something to keep in mind. Anyway, I really enjoyed, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.